All right, we should be live. Yep. Woohoo! We made it. Good morning, everyone. We were having a little bit of trouble getting started this morning, but I think we've got it now. Where did Sam go? Oh no, she disappeared. Well, welcome back to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. We took a little 2-week break, and so we're just coming back and starting a new book this morning, so we're all excited. The problem is most of us haven't received our book yet. The book that we decided to read um, is on the digital age, but it's not available on Kindle, so we all had to order books and are waiting for snail mail, and it's hopefully. Jason, did you get your book in time? You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, this is what it looks like. I can discuss with you the cover and how it looks, but yeah,
Nice. Well, at least somebody's got the book.
I'll tell you, it took almost all day for me to get this thing. It was quite a trek, but it was an adventure.
Yeah. I've thought about going out and hitting the bookstores, but I don't get around too well, and so I figured I'd get worn out before I found it. So I'm just going to order it
I
online.
don't
I
recommend it.
really thought I could get it on Kindle, but I can't find it on Kindle, which is hilarious. But so you haven't had a chance to crack the cover yet.
I read into the first chapter, kind of the introduction, and it's very similar to the last one. In fact, the last book has a few more pages than this does. Um, but they've updated it all. So, the introduction sort of lays the framework for the book,
Hmm.
and this kind of gives you a little history about the book and the original version.
Hmm. So when Sam gets back on here, I don't know if you're open to it or not. Would you be open to reading a paragraph or two for us, or you're the only one that has the book, Jason?
Yeah, I can read some of it. We can go through it. Right?
We'll see. We'll see what she
That.
wants to do. Are you here, Sam? No, not yet. Oh goodness. Okay.
I see your picture.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let me go over here to the event page. And all right. So we decided to read How to Win Friends and Influence People. We took sort of a little vote and asked our viewers and our panelists. We had everybody suggest books, and then we kind of voted on it, and all the books on the list were amazing. I just want to thank everybody for all of their input, and all the books are great, and I'm sure that we'll work our way through the list eventually. But we're going to start with this one, and I think there's Dan. Did you say there's a couple of versions of this?
Yeah, actually, I've got two versions of it myself. This is one right here that I've had this for years. And then
Uh-huh.
um, I go to a lot of thrift stores and look at the books there, and I've picked up another copy a while back that was a little bit different. I mean, they're basically the same, but it's got a different cover on it, you know. But
And those are in the digital age?
this one I've got, it's not. This is an older version of it, but
That's
I'm
the
not sure
first.
the one that Jason has. Um, could you hold that up again, Jason?
Hmm.
There we are.
In the digital age. Okay. So I guess
You can read
I
that.
guess we're going to use the most updated version of that of the in the digital age version. There's like version over version over version, evidently.
Yeah,
But we'll
it's
use the most
definitely.
updated one.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning,
Morning.
Danielle.
I'm a train wreck today.
That's okay. We're just not quite prepared for today anyway. So, and then Sam hasn't been able to get on, so I'm not real sure what to do. Quite honestly, I
We
guess
all
we'll
need to
just.
go back to bed.
I was thinking, we really will know how to influence people because if we still get on here for a mess like this, I don't know who put it up a few minutes ago. We're all going to be really successful. Oh my goodness. First,
Hey,
There's got to be a section on preparation here somewhere.
right?
well, you know,
With this many challenges, that's the only thing that's left is to be mega successful. As long as we don't quit.
yeah, that's it.
Right. And
We
you know
had a-
what? That's a good message. Oh, I'm sorry, Catherine. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's okay. We had a little gathering at our house last night, little bonfire and hangout, potluck kind of thing, and we were talking about how, um, you know, your faith in yourself, your belief and your faith in yourself to succeed has a lot to do with your problem solving abilities. Like if you have any kind of confidence in yourself that you can solve a problem, you know, then because you're just going to keep having more problems. It's not like you find the perfect business and you make a bunch of money and all your problems go away. No, you just get a whole different set of problems. So you still have to be a good problem solver and a good adapter and just be able to flow in any kind of situation because stuff happens all the time. So,
And, and
Oh
you know
yeah.
what? That's a good point you're making, Catherine, because I think that's the influence we have over other people's lives in a positive way is that they see when we can be transparent like we are today, and they can see that, and then they can say, oh my goodness, yeah, they had the right attitude, they didn't give up, they're not angry, they're not going through all the, it could be a little frustrating, but it's all in how you either respond or react to things in life, and so yeah, it's still a win-win. So we should have Jason read to everybody.
Yeah, well, I might have to be the one doing that. I tell you.
sorry, Jason, but
Uh-huh.
you're the only one with the book. So,
Okay, well, let's see. I was looking for, I was looking to be able to condense it down a little bit for you guys, but because it's not the first section isn't that long, but it does tend to go into the history of the book a little bit more than we might want to, but I don't know how to dissect it. You want me to just start from page 1?
that would be good, I think.
Okay. In 1936, Dale Carnegie made a compelling statement to his readers that dealing with people is probably the biggest problem you'll face. This is the foundation of how to win friends and influence people, and it's still true today. However, developing strategies for dealing with people is even more complex. Messaging people is instantaneous now. Communications with media have multiplied. Networks have expanded beyond borders, industries, and ideologies. Yet rather than making the principles in this book obsolete, these major changes have made Carnegie's principles more relevant than ever. They represent the foundation of every sound strategy, whether you're marketing a brand, apologizing to your spouse, or pitching to investors. And if you don't begin with the right foundation, it is easy to send the wrong message, to offend, or to fall embarrassingly short of your objectives. Precision of communication, insisted American writer James Thurber, is important, more important than ever. In our era of hair trigger balances, when a false or misunderstood word may create as much disaster as a sudden thoughtless act. Consider the era of high trigger balances in which we live today, more than 50 years after Thurber penned the phrase. The stakes are higher amid the amalgam of media. Distinction is more difficult. Every word, every nonverbal cue, every silent stare is scrutinized as if it had never been before. One wrong move can have a far greater implication. Still, every interaction from your first good morning to your last good night is opportunity to win friends and influence others in a positive way. Those who succeed daily lead quite successful lives, but this sort of success comes at a philanthropic price some aren't willing to pay. It is not as simple as being ad-wise or savvy about social media. The art of communication The art of communication is the language of leadership, writer James Humes. In other words, people skills that lead to influence have as much to do with the messenger, a leader in some right, as with the medium. This book will show you how and why this is true, just as it has shown more than 50 million readers around the globe, including world leaders, media luminaries, business icons, and best-selling authors. What all come to understand is that there is no such thing as a neutral exchange. You leave someone either a little better or a little worse, and the best amongst us leave others a little better with every nod, every inflection, every interface. This one idea embodied daily has significant results. It will improve your relationships and expand your influence with others. Yes, but it will do so because the daily exercise elicits greater character and compassion from you. Aren't we all moved by altruism? You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming more interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. Carnegie's assertion remains relevant, albeit counterintuitive, because it reminds us the secret to progress with people is a measure of selflessness swept under the drift of the digital age. We live in an unprecedented era of self-help and self-promotion. We watch YouTube videos like the double rainbow go viral in a matter of weeks and garner the sort of global attention people used to break their backs for years, even decades, to obtain. We witness allegedly leaked sex videos create overnight celebrities. We watch talking heads and political pundits tear down their competition and elevate their ratings. We are daily tempted to believe that the best publicity strategy is a mix of gimmick and parody run through the most viral proficient medium. The temptation is too much for many, but for those who understand the basics of human relations, there is a far better, far reputable, more sustainable way to operate. While self-help and self-promotion are not inherently deficient pursuits, problems always arise when the stream of self-actualization is dammed within us. You are 1 in 7 billion. Your progress is not meant for you alone. The sooner you allow this truth to shape your communication decisions, the sooner you will see that the quickest path to personal or professional growth is not in hyping yourself to others, but in sharing yourself with them. No author has presented the path as clearly as Dale Carnegie, yet perhaps even he could not have imagined how the path to meaningful collaboration would become an Audubon of lasting, lucrative influence today. The next section is called More Than Clever Communication. It's all part of the very first section too here. While the hyperfrequency of our interactions has made proficient people skills more advantageous than ever, influential people must be more than savvy communicators. Communication is simply an outward manifestation of our thoughts, our intentions, and our conclusions about the people around us. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. The internal drivers are the primary differentiator between today's leader and today's relational leech. The two highest levels of influence are achieved when, 1, people follow you because of what you've done for them, and 2, people follow you because of who you are. In other words, the highest levels of influence are reached when generosity and trustworthiness surround your behavior. This is the price of great, sustainable impact. Whether 2 or 2 million people are involved, yet it is only when generosity and trust are communicated artfully and authentically that the benefits are mutual. Because we live in an age when celebrity influence can be borrowed like credit lines and media coverage can be won by squeaky wheels, it is all the more critical that every communication opportunity matter, that every medium you use be filled with messages that build trust, convey gratitude, and value to the recipients. The one thing that has not changed since Carnegie's time is that there is still a clear distinction between influence that is borrowed and is difficult to sustain, and influence that is earned and is steady on Earth's axis. Carnegie was the master of influence that is earned. Consider a few of his foundational principles. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Talk about others' interests, and if you're wrong, admit it. Let others save face. Such principles don't make you a clever conversationalist or a resourceful raconteur. They remind you to consider others' needs before you speak. They encourage you to address difficult subjects honestly and graciously. They prod you to become a kinder, humbler manager, spouse, colleague, salesperson, and parent. Ultimately, they challenge you to gain influence in others' lives, not through showmanship or manipulation, but through a genuine habit of expressing great respect, empathy, and grace. Your reward: rich, enduring friendships, trustworthy transactions, compelling leadership, and amid today's massive me-isms, a very distinguished trademark. The original book has been called the best-selling self-help book of all time. From a modern standpoint, this is a misnomer. Self-help, in quotes, was not a phrase Carnegie used. It was a moniker assigned to the genre created by the blockbuster success of How to Win Friends. The irony is that Carnegie would not endorse all of today's self-help advice. He extolled action that sprang from genuine interest in others. He taught principles that flowed from the underlying delight in helping others succeed. Where the book recategorized How to Win Friends would be more appropriately deemed the best-selling soul help book in the world. For it is the soulish underpinnings of the golden rule that Carnegie extracted so well. The principles herein are more than self-help or self-promotion handles. They are soulful strategies for lasting lucrative progress in your conversations, your collaborations, your company, and the implications are significant. By applying the principles, you will not only become a more compelling person with more influence in others' lives, you will fulfill a philanthropic purpose every day. Imagine this effect compounding over the dozens of daily interactions the digital age affords you. Imagine the effect if dozens of people throughout the organization followed suit. Winning friends and influencing people today is no small matter. One continuum of opportunities, it is your greatest, on the continuum of opportunities, it is the greatest and most constant occasion to make sustainable growth with others. And what success does not begin with relationships?
I think that's
Does
a
anyone
great
have any
place to
thoughts on
stop
that?
and just have, yeah, let's just talk about that a little bit. I think Sam might be making it on too, which would be awesome. So obviously, we know that things have changed a lot, right? Especially those of us who actually have been around, before the internet and all that. Communication has really changed a lot in my short little life. And unfortunately, what I see online is that people don't understand there's a person on the other side of the screen. There's people out there receiving their message. I don't know. Somehow the internet, as personalized as it can be with this sort of technology where we're face to face, I find it to be very impersonal a lot of times. People just um, act like there's not a person on the other end of that message that they're sending out. So give me some thoughts about that, you guys. We never really introduced ourselves. I'm sorry. We should have started out with all that. Normally, normally Sam remembers to say all this stuff, so I apologize for that. So if you guys want to introduce yourself, my name is Catherine Clement. I'm in Boulder, Colorado, and we'll just go through. Everybody can introduce themselves, and then we'll have some comments on the difference between communication, person to person, one on one on the computer, and then like the messages that you guys are receiving from the masses. I'd like to hear about all of that.
Well,
Well,
I'm
everybody knows
Vicki
me now,
DeVore.
right?
Well, Vicki DeVore from Houston, Texas. So glad to be here this morning, even with all of our little challenges that we've got. So glad to be here.
Hey, Vicki. And I'm Jason Roberts. I'm really glad to be here too. It's exciting. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Good morning, I'm Dan Smith. I live in Boise, Idaho. It's a beautiful morning, and thank you for coming this morning.
Morning, everybody. I'm Danielle DeLyons out in Anaheim, California, and I'm glad to be here.
Good morning, Sandy Root here in Miami Beach, Florida, and happy to be here.
Sam, I don't know if you're here with us yet. I see your picture, but it's kind of frozen. I forgot to have everybody introduce himself in the beginning, so we were just kind of throwing those in. But now we're going to discuss. Jason was kind enough to read the part. I think that was part of the introduction, wasn't it, Jason, that you were reading, or was that actually chapter 1? You're muted, darling.
Yes, that was introduction. There's about 3 pages of the whole thing.
Okay. So Jason was kind enough to read from the introduction, and then we were just going to discuss a little bit about the difference in communication, internet, and how can we keep that personalized humanness involved instead of, what I see online a lot is what I call them drive-bys. I'm sure you guys get them. Like people just come slam you with their thing. They just you say hello and they say link, 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 link. I mean it's very very impersonal, and then sometimes I come back and I'll say, oh, that's interesting, I'll check that out. How are you today? And they come back, link, 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 and it's like, what is going on here? So I call those drive-bys. So how do you guys feel about online communication and the difference between um, really connecting, like how do you really connect with people so that they can feel your messages and feel you through your communication instead of it just because text can be very easily misinterpreted, I guess is what I want to say. So let's have some thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, that's when Jason was reading that part, I guess, about, people respond when you're interested in them, not when you're interested in yourself, really. And I think that that's something that a lot of people forget online. It's like we're people too, and forming a relationship online. So really showing interest in the other person will help them learn who you are in the meantime, and you'll build a relationship that way rather than the links. And it's funny because I did a training for my team this week about exactly this, just not throwing link, but starting a conversation. If we're online, look at, say on Facebook, look at their wall, get to know them. Where do they live and what do they like? Do they have a family? And engage them in what they're showing on their wall. And you'll see a big difference. People, even if you're online to promote something, they'll remember you if you're not there promoting it. They want to build a relationship is the important part, not spamming your business all over the place. And if they aren't looking at your product, that's fine. They'll remember you down the road if ever they want to look at it. They'll be like, oh, wow, that person was really genuine and nice to me. So, yeah, it's important. And like you said, a lot of things can get misconstrued through text and messages online. So how can we really be clear on what we're saying and communicate in a genuine way through word online, because it definitely can always be read a lot differently among different people if we're not super clear on what we're coming across, how we're coming across. So those are my points for now.
I would love to back that up with what Sandy said. I use the same techniques many times with my team and my business as well. And I take advantage of what we're doing right now in these Hangouts. I even go that much further in a personal way so that they actually can see you. And I use it to the advantage to say, how cool is this? You're way over on the other side of the world, and yet I can be personable with you. And people remember those things. The art of communication is very limited anymore because of the internet, and exactly because we don't use our language the same way. And so taking the extra time to actually communicate and have a conversation with people, it goes a long way for people remembering you, just even to develop really great relationships with people outside of, a lot of times, most of us, I think, here are networkers, so we're constantly focused on our business, but it helps to bring that element in you and help you to stand out for yourself to who you really truly are. And I really feel it's still very, very important, and I'm glad that we're communicating this way today to show that to other people. We get too caught up in the text messages and things, and definitely words and communication is so misconstrued today. That's it for me for right now.
Well, I agree, Danielle. I think I'd posted in the chat that, the internet, while Catherine also said, exposes us and opens us up to the world, is also, in a sense, become a very isolating way to communicate. And in text messages and private messages and all the kinds of things we do with Facebook and stuff, we lose that inflection in our communication. And so, that's a really good idea, is to try to do more stuff, through Hangouts. Because, like I say, they can see you, and and I have a new member of my business that is from India, and this has become, or is becoming, a little bit of a challenge, not only because of the time difference, but because of some language difference. Trying to understand exactly what they're asking and how to guide them. So, it may get to the point where I will just be doing the same thing. I'm going to get out and do do a hangout, and hopefully that will help. But like I said, you're true. The written word and text messages and all those kind of things, while it has become very easy, can also be greatly misconstrued. So that's just kind of my 2 cents for right now.
Yeah, and thinking of some different ideas here as Jason was reading, it struck me that the basic nature of man has not changed. We have more technology than we've ever had, and yet the deep longing of the human soul is to be recognized, to still be loved, to be understood. And one of the things that has popped up to me over the years is this little saying that says, "Seek to be interested, not to be interesting." And to be more interested in other people, to tell me about your family, tell me about your life, tell me about what you do for a living, and instead of overpowering people with, I don't believe you know who I am, so I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes telling you what a wonderful person that I am. Instead of approaching people from that perspective that, I got to force my who I am on you, I can more control the situation or control the conversation, I guess would be a better word, but I can control the conversation if I'm more interested in you and you get the other person to talking, and the person who's actually asking the questions is the person who's in control of the conversation, so to speak. And so really to delve into the lives of other people, to draw them out, to find the good in other human beings, and not to look for the what you would consider as the bad or whatever. I seen a saying on a poster years ago, if I can remember how it goes. It says, "There's so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us that it behooves all of us not to belittle the rest of us," something along that line. So anyways, looking for good in other human beings, and actually not trying to force who you are, force your I'm not sure the word I'm looking for there, but to force yourself onto other people, to actually ask other people about, tell me about your life. I'm interested in you, years ago when I was in my early 20s, I got involved with the Amway business, and I'd never had any training in my family were Hicks from Idaho, okay, and this is just not the type of thing that we dwelt on around the dinner table at night. So when I got involved with Amway, this is all brand spanking new stuff to me. And reading this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, way back in my early 20s, and then hearing different speeches made by there's a guy named Bill Britt who had really one of the largest multi-level marketing businesses that's ever existed. He just died like less than a year ago. But I've done studies on tapes that he's made. I still listen to these tapes today. And one of the things he said on there, he says, "I'm a good finder." He says, "I only look for the good in people, and I don't look for the bad. And I speak up the good, and I never talk about the bad." And so, just as a way of living, I haven't always patterned that 100%, but it is something that I have been mindful of. So anyways, I didn't mean to capitalize conversation. I'll turn it over to somebody else.
As always, Dan has valuable words to say, and I really appreciate everything you just said, Dan. You always say the best things. Well, y'all do. But you just nailed a couple really big things. And yeah, when you take an interest in other people, you see them blossom, that they have the opportunity to talk about themselves. And I've seen that, and I'm sure you all have so many times. People, they get like a child almost and animated, and they're excited that somebody actually is interested in who they are. And that's one of the chapters in the book. This book in particular I've read just as much as the Bible. It's the #1 book I've read in my life. And so it'll be fun reading the new rendition, but that is exactly what it is when you're influencing people, it's not for your own demise, it's for them. It's about them. And I'm excited to learn from all of you. So thank you, Dan. I just wanted to throw that in real quick.
Looks like Sam is still trying to get on. Bless you, sweetie. You're having such a hard time this morning. She's restarted her computer and all of that and still having some issues. So, yeah, this is a very interesting situation that we find ourselves in, and I'm just going to step out here and say I have never been the best communicator in person. So learning how to communicate online has added an entirely another layer for me to recognize the um, impact of my words on people. It's and how to express myself and make it so that multiple people reading it with different personality types and different experiences, get the message that I'm trying to put across. And like you said, um, on this internet platform, people come online and it's not really our fault. Like what happens is you come online and you jump into some company and then they tell you do this, do this, do this, which is basically slam people with links. They don't teach communication skills. They just say, get your link out there. And so you do what you're told because you're trying to be coachable. And it's not always a good way to go about it. It's really a learning process to understand how to communicate with people and to show interest in them, because people say, well, people don't join your business, they join you. That's true. They do join you. However, they'll join you because you show interest in them. so so it's not all about just getting your information out there on 18,000 platforms, um, and getting whoever will click on your link. You really want to develop relationships with people, because why build a business 18 million times? I've heard companies that actually tell people you have to out recruit. What is that word? You have to out recruit the number of people that are dropping out, basically. You just have to just keep recruiting, burn them down, just you're going to have so many people falling out, so you just got to recruit twice as many. Well, I don't really, I would rather just develop a relationship with people and build it once. Yes, people are going to quit because that's what people do. People quit on lots of things in their lives, and it's not businesses are no different, and businesses can be very challenging. Like just this week, this is so silly, but I've just had a horrible time getting my taxes together from last year. Like I was on an extension, and I, I I've never run a small business myself, so I wasn't on top of it from the beginning. I didn't keep records, and then I was going back and trying to recreate everything, and it was a very stressful. Like it really stressed me out, and I thought to myself several times, I can understand why people would just quit at this point. But the problem, that's where, and this is a term that is used in a few companies, but it's used across the board too, being all in. When you are 80% in and all of a sudden you have 81% of challenges, you're done. You've quit. If you're only 80% in and that extra 1% falls in there, taxes come up, you have to recreate the last year, you can quit right there. You have to be all in to whatever you're doing. Even if you're online and you don't have a business, if you're just online with a presence, you still need to be all in with whatever you're doing. Because otherwise, these, like we mentioned earlier, you're going to have problems. Things are going to come up, and if you're not all in, you're going to give up when some of those obstacles arise, when really it's just there to show you that you can overcome it, to get your courage up a little bit more and your confidence up a little bit more, and then you can handle those bigger challenges. Because just, all of us come online and everybody wants instant success. They want to be a millionaire next month. Well, are you really? I mean, when I look at myself, I can honestly say I'm not ready to be a millionaire next month. I mean, it would like completely overwhelm me. Yes, money can help some situations, but there's a whole other set of things that come up when you're earning that sort of money or managing that big of a team. So it's really what I think it's a building process. You're building your character, you're building your problem solving skills, you're building your coping abilities, you're building the amount of stress that you can handle, you're building your communication skills. And as those things add up, you become the person, that can be the millionaire. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I totally agree, Catherine. One of the things I heard recently on a wealth series is that we're now in a generation of non-committal. Like you said, something happens. Oh, you break a fingernail. Oh, I got to quit. And that happens in everything. Like you said, it, literally everything. The little like I say, the fingernail breaking, or the challenge with taxes, or families, people in relationships, and saying, oh, okay, well, I can't deal with this, so I'm out of here. It's just because everything is so instant. People want instant results, that when they don't get them, it's just far easier to say, oh, okay, I'm going to go try this one over here. And I think I saw a cute little quote picture, on Facebook or something, the little elderly couple, talking about, in their age, is talking about when something was broke, you just fixed it. You didn't just walk away from it or toss it or whatever it is that, that's the success with a lot of things, that you got to have that, what is it, an old saying of stick-to-itiveness or something like that. So, but yeah, sometimes, and that's something I'm learning, is that some of the quote challenges that I'm facing on a daily basis with business or whatever, even in my own personal life, is something really, if I will step back and just take the emotion out of it, is probably something that's going to help further me in my business or further me in my life, and make me help me to be a better person, and be something that will help impact other people's lives. So, but I think that's, for me, I think that's one of the big challenges we have, is this instant society where people don't have that grit and determination to stay with something, no matter, like say, business, relationships, whatever it is. So that's just kind of like my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'll pop out here. Excuse the phone ringing, but I ran a painting company for 26 years, and everything I did in that company was deadlines and schedules. And it didn't particularly matter if you woke up with a headache in the morning. If you had a deadline and a schedule, then you went to work anyway. And my wife is a nurse, and she works in the operating room. And the difference between being all in and having an employee mentality or employee attitude is that the employee's attitude is that, hey, it's 4:30, clock says it's 4:30, it's time for me to go home. But when you're in an operating room situation and you got a patient on the table and they got a hole in their side because the doctor's in there doing doctor magic, it doesn't matter what the clock says. It makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. You stay there until that patient is sewed up, stitched up, and woke up and out of recovery. So that's all in. And Catherine, I see you shaking your head. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There is no time clock, okay? And it's get the job done mentality, and it's like in my painting business. If I had to have the house painted because there's other subcontractors going to come in after me, and the thing is because a contract was signed 90 or 120 days, whatever, previously that said, that guaranteed the owner of this new house, we will deliver you a house on this date and you can move in, because loan papers have to be signed. There's possibility that if the loan papers aren't signed on time, it could cost the homeowner a higher interest rate, which could be $150 a month over a 30-year period. So there was a tremendous amount of pressure there to perform and get a job done. And that's all in. That's the difference between a business owner, somebody who's successful that says, hey, I don't care if I got to stay here till 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to get this job done. And the person says, oh, gee whiz, look at the time, it's 4:30, I'm out of here. So it's a mindset. It's the way that you look at life. It's the way that you look at what you do. That obstacles, yeah, I got them, but you know what? Obstacles not going to stop me. I'm going to find a way over, under, around, or through, but I'm going through, and I'm going to do what I determined to do. So I turn it over to somebody else for some different thoughts.
Oh, those are some great points, Dan. And you're right. It is a mindset, and I'm thinking about this book, and you just look at the cover. It's how to win friends and influence people. And I think I think all of us can probably agree we're really more interested in being just genuinely interested in other people and winning friends and gaining influence that way, rather than trying to shove our information or our products down people's throats. I think we need to just remember that. And I think that this book isn't about manipulating people, and it's about having that interest, about cultivating a relationship with whomever it is, whoever it might be that you meet throughout the day. And sort of I read through the older versions of this book before, and there's a lot of great tips and strategies that can help us be proactive throughout our day while we're just having our regular interactions with people. There's a part in here, I forget where exactly, but it was a part where I read earlier. It was talking about how it is in the balances, and how every interaction is important. I think it's also important that we realize it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to expand our world, so to speak, with new friends and new new interactions. When I went out to get this book the other day, and it was quite a trek, and it was all my fault. I went the wrong way. I got lost. I was in rush hour traffic. I had there was all these things I could have been complaining about. But the one thing that I took away from that whole experience was an interaction that I had at a bookstore here in town, and it was just a moment where I had a chance to speak with the owner of the store, and it was neat. It was I guess I was already in the mindset of using some of these techniques, and it was nice. It was comfortable. I wasn't looking to sell this person anything, and it just sort of as I just inquired about them and their business a little bit. You could see their eyes open up. You could see their energy change as I took interest, genuine interest in what they were doing, and it was just it's neat, because those things can be very, very impactful, not only for yourself but for everyone around you. So by developing these sorts of things, we are really not only helping ourselves, but helping the people around us have a more enjoyable time with us, and helping them to enjoy life. So it's kind of a win-win, don't you think?
Absolutely, Jason. I agree with you. People people want to, I mean, you've heard that saying a million times. People don't care what you know; they want to know that you care, and it's so true. Everybody's just they want to know that you're not just trying to sell them something. Um, I have completely changed my online marketing strategies from the time I first got into it until now. I've made a complete 180 or whatever degree that is, where you completely turn around, because I as I said earlier, I was told to do this and this. I didn't know anything about online marketing, so I wanted to be coachable. They always talk about be coachable. So I wanted to be coachable. I did what they said, but it just did not feel good in my heart. I did not feel like I was connecting with people in a real way. Um, and so I have taken the agenda out, completely. And it's really, for one thing, it makes the telephone, I used to be scared to death of the telephone. Like I could text to people or IM them or, do whatever online. But as far as actually picking up the phone and talking to people, I was afraid to pick up the phone because I had an agenda. So once I got rid of the agenda, now the phone weighs, it went from 500 pounds to nothing, because now I just call people to see how I can help them without trying to sell them anything, without pitching them my deal or, anything like that. So that has been very helpful to me. And not to say that you can't offer someone your product. If you have a product that is helpful to people, then of course you want to offer it. But you have to ask questions. You have to find out what they need, because they might not need what product you have right now. Maybe they need to adjust their diet, or maybe they need to just have someone they can vent to and just drop some of the emotional stuff they're going. I mean, there's so many layers to people, so you have to ask the right questions and find out what they need. If someone asks you, what do you do, or what your product is, or whatever, just answer their specific question. Don't go into a 30-minute presentation just because, some people, it seems like they're just waiting for any sign of interest, and then all of a sudden they slam you with 45-minute presentation. Just answer the specific question that they ask, and then say, what else would you like to know? What product, what business are you in? We'll just tell them, and then what else would you like to know? You don't, just because you have an open door, so to speak, you don't have to jump into your hour-long tirade. What are your thoughts about that? And I'd also like to know, we're coming up, we've only got about 6 minutes left here. So I want to mention that you can always find us at SaturdayMorningMastermind.com, and that's going to take you to our Google Plus community. And I would like, we did not cover chapter 1 this week because nobody had the book. Thankfully, Jason had it, and he was able to read us the introduction. But so the assignment for this next week is for everybody to get their book and read chapter 1, and we'll discuss that next week. And also in the Google Plus community, if you could go over there and just write down, share with us if you have had any challenges online, like if something you've put out there has been miscommunicated, or lessons that you've learned about trying to communicate online, challenges that you've had. We'd like to keep a discussion going through the week if we can, just to try to keep people engaged, and because we can't cover everything on this, even though it's an hour long. As you can see, we get talking, and before you know it, the time's over. So if everybody could just share their experiences in the Google Plus community through the week, that would be great. Get your book, read chapter 1. We'll meet here again next week, same time, same bat channel, and we'll discuss chapter 1. Now we have about 5 minutes left, so if anyone would like to share maybe a challenge that they've had online, or communicating with people in a genuine way online because of the issues involved, or
You know, Catherine, I was going through that challenge there for a while, trying to adapt to the online because I'm kind of old school networker myself, and I've reverted back to the old school. I still go back to it over and over again. And I'm seeing this within our organization, our team with our company. A lot of people that say they keep losing people. I don't lose people like a lot of other people lose people, and I really feel it's the difference is because of the communication skills and being more personable with people. They may just be friends. They may not want to do your business. They may not be interested in your products, but I build relationships. I've got hundreds of relationships. Sometimes it's almost like a job keeping up with all the people. And yet I love it because in the long run, it goes a long way. And this is like a little tidbit in a positive way. It goes a long way because you're the person they remember when they come across somebody as well, and you're the person that gets referred. I get referrals all the time. Result of the personal relationships I've built. So those are some of the challenges I've come across, and this is, I really love this discussion today. Thank you so much for that.
Anyone else? Any closing thoughts? I think you're absolutely right there, Danielle. When you're, it seems like I see so many people every time they speak to someone. It's like, can I get a sale? Can I get them in my business? Well, not everybody, as you all have personally experienced and can see, this business is not for everyone. I mean, let the grandmas rock the babies. I'm serious. There are people that are, we need people in every area. We can't have everybody in our business. And when you're speaking to someone, you need to just connect on a human level, because they may not be, need your product. They may not need your business, but they could very well, if they connect with you and they know that you're genuinely interested in them, instead of just making a sale, they will very well refer to you, just like Danielle was just talking about. They'll be talking to someone who has an issue that your product will solve, and all of a sudden they'll go, oh, I remember that really nice person, let me give you this number. So we're people, even though we're on the other side of a computer screen. Somehow, it's like you were saying earlier, when we start communicating with people, Vicki, in other countries, and there's language barriers and culture barriers. I think that's the coolest thing. Thank God for Google Translate. That I think that's the coolest thing I think that's what's actually going to bring about peace here, because our cultures tend to separate us, and now that we're online and we have access to people in other cultures and we can connect in a one-to-one way, we can see that we're all human and we all have the same wants and needs, and we're all really just alike underneath. And I think that's what's actually going to bring about peace, is that being able to see that. So we're right here at the top of the hour. Any last thoughts or questions or comments?
Yeah, I got just a thought, that I'm an individual who can tend to be a hermit, and be all right with that. But the fact is even being somewhat of a hermit, I still enjoy human interaction. And I've really been buried for the last couple of years in learning internet marketing. And so have not really had a lot of human interaction the way that I used to have in my painting business, where I was out in the marketplace every day. And it's not so much that I miss the painting business, but I miss the interaction with other people that I knew when I was in the painting business. And I go to the same paint stores all the time, and there were people that worked there that I got to know and knew a little bit about their families and come to enjoy and love those people. And there was other painters that periodically that you'd run into in the paint store and come to know them. So the last couple of years that I've really had my nose buried in in a computer screen all day long, as I've been learning and teaching myself internet marketing, there is a hunger for human interaction. And even just the people here on this panel, we're all over the United States, but it's reaching out even through a digital line to begin to recognize faces, to begin to recognize different emotional patterns that people have, just to find out a little bit about people's families and where they're from, the way that they think. And it's just, no, we're not here pressing flesh, so to speak. We're not, I can't put my arm around somebody and give them a hug and tell them I love you. And yet there's still a human element here that, one of the things that really in the last few weeks has really impressed me, that I need friends. I need people that are in this business. I need to surround myself with associates that I can learn from them, and they can maybe learn some things from me. And just the hunger that we all have, because we're all human beings, and it's that it goes to the very nucleus of what a human is, to have human interactions with other people, and to look in somebody's eyes and say, hey, I love you and I appreciate you. Thanks for just being you. So anyways, that's all I want to say.
Yeah, we can go out there and make an impact in other people's worlds, and it doesn't really take a whole lot. So I think what we're learning here, what we'll learn in this book, and about communication in general can really benefit us, not only in our businesses, but I think it'll bring us a lot of happiness and success just in our relationships. I just want to read this one little paragraph. It says, "We lose the faith of friends, family members, and others when we follow the steps of relational success without feeding the essence of the relationships, the measuring and meeting of human needs." So I think it goes along with what everyone was saying here, that we are humans here behind these computer screens, and I think we all enrich each other's lives when we get to know each other and open ourselves up to each other. So I'm looking forward to learning more about each and every one of you and our new audience members, and I hope everybody has a great afternoon, and I hope we can hear from Samantha here shortly too, if she can get on here. But I think everybody's been doing a great job, and really looking forward to the rest of the discussion on this book.
Okay, I guess that's it. Is everybody okay? Everybody's good? Give me a thumbs up. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank everyone for joining us. I'm sorry we had a bit of a rocky start, and our normal Sam wasn't here to run it, and I got a little discombobulated there, but I think we pulled it off. And go ahead and get your book, read chapter 1, and join us here next week, same time, and we'll see what kind of gold is hidden in that book. I know it's some good stuff. So everyone have a wonderful week, and connect with someone. And remember, just because you're connecting with a lot of people online, turn your computer off and go look somebody in the eye. And don't forget about your personal, inhuman, flesh relationships. Sometimes we can get so caught up in our internet stuff that we forget that there's other people in our real lives that need us too. So everyone have a blessed week. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next Saturday morning.